Welcome to Dancing Water. I'm Susan. I'm delighted that you're here for your Dancing Water daily practice. Today we're going to do some restorative yoga that is focusing on allowing ourselves to feel the body and create a little space between us and our thoughts. So this morning I ran smack up against a bunch of voices, a bunch of thoughts in my head that I really believed to be true. And they sent me into a state of real suffering. And luckily, I was walking outside in the breezy morning air. So I was moving my body, and I was with somebody who I trusted and cared about and I could talk to about these thoughts that I was believing. And what helped me was dropping into sensation, remembering where I am, and I also remembered the work of Byron Katie. So Byron Katie does some wonderful thought processing work, which I will link to in the show notes. But she has a quote that I really appreciate. She said, I discovered that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. But when I didn't believe them, I didn't suffer. And that is true for every human being. Freedom is as simple as that. So, if only we can remember this when the thought storms arise. So, for me, physical practices, mindfulness practices are ones that allow me to feel the difference between me and my thoughts, that I am not my thoughts. So we're going to focus today in this simple practice with focusing on the ankle joints, the low back, and the neck. These are all sort of channel places, connection between body and mind at the neck, connection between torso and legs, between who I am and where I'm going, and ankle joints actually propelling me where I'm going. So that's what we're going to focus on. A few things that you're going to need, and a couple of props that we don't always use, but that I think will be helpful for our practice today. First of all, 2 bath towels rolled into the famous towel log. So 2 of those. 2 pillows, 2 firm pillows. I like to have one that's a little bit thinner than the other, but we're going to use them in different ways. So you might want 3. We'll come to that. But we're going to be supporting the torso, and so it's possible that you'll want 3. Then, if you have a yoga block, the application we're going to use, a yoga block is really great. Not everybody has yoga blocks just hanging around. So if you don't, you can use a stack of books. And we're going to use 1 stack of books that is roughly the height of the medium height of a yoga block, and 1 stack of books that's roughly the height of the tallest setting of a yoga block. It doesn't have to be precise, but what really it's helpful to have it be a little bit firmer than a pillow. You could also, depending on the height of it, you could use something like the arm of a couch or something like that. But I find the books are more mobile and more helpful than that. So that's what we're going to use. Oh, and optionally, you might want to have a strap or a belt or a long scarf or an eye covering. And as always, during a restorative practice, 3 things that's always important. 1 is make sure that you're on a soft surface. And this series in particular, we're going to be on our knees a little bit. So you want to make sure that you have a yoga mat, carpet, and maybe additionally a blanket underneath you. That's for warmth and for softness. Long sleeves, Socks, also a great idea because your body temperature is very likely to go down. And later we have an option to be using the wall too. So that's another thing that you could have handy. But again, it's optional. And as always, I like to have a cup of tea or water available for the end of practice. This is my favorite Dandy Blend tea. I'm going to take a sip of it now. Even though it's a little warm, it's going to be perfect at the end of our practice. All right, so ankle joints, low back, and neck. Let's begin with a very simple cat-cow pose. So no props, but coming onto your hands and knees with your hands right underneath your shoulders and your fingers wide, index fingers pointing forward, and your knees just about hip-width apart. And let's begin with your toes tucked underneath. So just lifting your head and tail, and then dropping your head and tail, drawing your belly button in. So I invite you to do this slowly so that you can feel any places that need your attention. So for me, my low back feels a little tense today. And what feels good is when I take it into the cat position here. So I might want to hang out in places that feel good. And then go around with your ribs. And if it feels good, you can pull yourself back a little bit and put a little bit more weight into your feet and pull forward a little bit. Maybe move your hands. And then come back and now untuck your toes so that the fronts of your ankle joints are as close to the floor as possible, and do the same series. Just look up and down. Notice if it feels any different with your feet and ankles in a different position. And then just finding some circular movements, maybe back and forward. Just moving your spine around a little bit before we really get started into letting go. So noticing what you notice in those three parts, in your ankles, low back, and neck. So now let's set up. We're going to do a modified mountain brook pose. So we're going to use our 2 towel logs, one for the ankle joints, one for right behind the knees, and then you can take a pillow. I'm going to show 2 options for your neck here. So you can take a pillow here, or have your books or your yoga block ready. So here, get yourself set up, and so your ankles are supported by the towel. Now here's another option. You can take the other pillow and put it underneath your feet, so that your feet feel some contact with something, so they're not just floating. Some people like that, some people don't like that, but it's an option. For me, when I feel rattled, when I feel up in my head, having my feet have something to relax against allows some of the energy from my head to go down into my feet and body. So then, just very gently take yourself back, and here, you can just rest your head, just the back of your head, on the pillow. And so your head is just high enough so that your chin is tucked. And you can relax your hands to the side with the palms up. You can rest them on your body. Or you can rest them to the side of your body with your palms down. So just feel what feels just right. So as always in restorative yoga, we keep asking ourselves, what could I do that would be more comfortable? Check your shoulders. For me, my shoulders tend to pull forward or in this position up. So if I draw my shoulders back a little bit, there's an opening at my chest. And just take a couple of breaths here. And what we're doing here is just getting some support under the knees and legs and letting your low back have its natural arch, natural curve. So we don't want to be pressing it down or arching it in an exaggerated way, just letting it find its natural curve. And now just very gently just roll your head to one side, looking eyes to the one side, and then eyes to the back. Just feeling the side of your neck, just feeling a gentle stretch through the side of your neck. Now you're totally welcome just to stay with this movement or just finding a place, either eyes to the ceiling, maybe there's a stretch that you want to stay in for your neck. But another option is to take your books, so either taking your block on the medium height or the books relatively close to the medium height and putting them right under, they tipped over. Here we go. Right under the occipital ridge, right under the bony ridge of your skull. So what you want is to feel the edge of this top book right here, right at the edge of your skull. And so there's a little bit, oh yeah, just now. You're going to very, very slowly turn your head side to side and take your time here. Now, what you're looking for are any tender places along the back of your neck, particularly right at the edge of your skull. And you may find that you find a tender spot and you just want to stay there and just pause. When you do that, check out your body. Notice if you're holding and bracing, clenching any tension. Instead, just let the body relax and let yourself feel this gentle massage through all of these little muscles at the base of your skull, along your neck. Oh yeah, it's really feels good to me. Now, restorative yoga is not about intensity. It is about letting your body find its own way of unwinding. So if this feels really intense, you might want to put something soft on the edge of the books, maybe your eye pillow or a towel. Or maybe you want to go back to just having your pillow and just rocking your head side to side with your pillow. Now, more intensity, this is not better in restorative. You want to create an environment that allows your body to let go, feel supported and relaxed. This allows your nervous system to calm, and it allows your thoughts to become sort of more clear, more separate from you. It gives you the opportunity to see the distance between yourself and your thinking. Wherever you are, if you're on the pillow, if you're on the block, if you're on books, Just come with your nose pointing up toward the ceiling. Take a couple of deep breaths. See if you can relax your jaw, soften your eyes. This is a posture that I like to take sometimes when I'm watching TV, to lie down and have some support under my head and give that neck massage. So that's a possibility. Now take a deep breath, and if you've got blocks, a block or your books, just push them aside. Give yourself a little stretch, pointing your toes, reaching with fingers, and then relax everything. Take a deep breath. And now draw your knees in toward your chest. Now from here, just give your knees a little bit of a squeeze in toward your chest. So creating some space between your low back and your middle back. Opening up the space at the back and then relaxing. So just doing that a couple of times. Just very gentle. Pull in, opening up the space at your low back, and then relax it. And one more time, just gently pull in. Nice. And let it go. And now roll to one side. And now we're going to set up for the next posture, which is a supported frog pose. Now, this is the one that you may want a third pillow for. In other kinds of yoga, this can be a very intense pose, especially in the hips, in the inner thighs, and the inner knees. For our purposes, we want it to be very supported and very relaxed. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a stack of support. So I'm going to use my 2 pillows, and then I'm going to take my towels, and I'm going to fold them into squares, almost like a small pillow. I'm going to stack the whole thing up. So you could do this with 3 pillows and 2 towels. You could do this with a blanket. And now here is, again, just really important that you have softness underneath your knees. And then have either your yoga block on the highest setting or your books on a similar setting. What I'd like you to do is take your tower of support and tuck it up in between your thighs. So your knees are outside your support, and the closer your feet are to your hips, the less intense. You can take your knees out more at an angle, but for me, that's very intense, and I am not after that right now. What I'm after is just a gentle opening through my inner thighs and lots of support. Whatever you're choosing, you're going to lift up and come over your tower of support, and then bring your block or your books right under your forehead. So my mouth and nose are like a bridge between my head and my neck. Hands can just rest on the floor, palms down. Now, if this is too hard, again, you're welcome to take your eye pillow, a small towel, rest it on the books or the block. Now, go to your hips, adjusting your feet so that you can feel supported. If it feels too intense, come right back up and find something more so that you can find a way of organizing yourself so that you feel comfortable. Another option here is if it feels too intense, is just to take one leg back and only one leg bent. Okay? Either way, you're going to use this support. So, take your time to get yourself settled because you want to get yourself into a position that feels like you could stay there for a while. So take a deep breath once you feel like you've got yourself settled. And now let your brow gently rock side to side. So from temple to temple, getting your neck a little bit of a stretch, ironing out any creases in your forehead. It's almost like you're squeezing the thoughts out, letting them pour out of your ear. And again, you may find a tender place. So for me, this kind of feels good on my temple. And so you can just pause any place that it feels good. My third eye, another option here is to use your hands for more height and more softness. And if you've got one leg behind you, you can switch your legs, extend the other leg and bend the other knee in. See if you can find a place of pause. Nervous system gets a signal of safety when the front of your body is protected and supported. So allowing that sensation to let go of any clenching or holding. Take a couple more deep breaths here. Any place that feels good with your neck and head. Then take your hands right underneath your shoulders. Press down and put yourself up. Another way of getting out of this is to extend both of your legs behind you and then push up and back. So find the way that feels best for you, but come up slowly and use the space in between the poses to really drop into sensation. Feel what it feels like to come back into upright. Feel what it feels like to release that support from your front body. So now we're going to do a little inversion with the legs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do mine just about a leg's length from a wall, or in my case, a bookcase, so that when I come down again, my feet can be flat against the wall. I'm going to take what am I going to take? I think I'm just going to take a towel underneath my low back. But depending on your body, you may want more support under your low back. And then I'm going to take a pillow for my head. And here's where you may want to use a strap eventually, so have that handy. And you may want to have your eye covering handy too. So just about a leg's length from the wall. I come back onto my back and so I want the support, whether it's a pillow or the towel, under my sacrum and not under my low back, so that just my hips are just a little bit elevated. And then again, with knees close together, just gently draw your knees into your chest. And then let your feet float up. So what you want to do is just you'll feel a place where your feet can relax in suspension, where you're not holding with any muscular tension. And then let your feet come apart a little bit and just make some circles with your ankles in one direction. And then in the other. And you may find a little tight places, and then play with just point and flex your feet. And then very gently just let them pause. Let your hands rest either to the side or on your body. Or you can also take your feet right at the balls of your feet and feel this traction, feeling this pull down. So again, your feet are getting something to push against, but also there's a little traction pulling down into your hip sockets. And you want to just find the place where it's totally easeful. So you could stay here for quite a while and just let your breath do whatever it does. Feeling your ribs float. Your jaw relaxes. Your cheeks soften. If holding onto the strap creates tension in your shoulders, just let it go. But if you can find such a way that it feels relaxed, that may mean you need a longer strap. This works just fine for me, but yeah, I could have a little bit of a longer strap so that my upper arm bones were relaxed down. Making a little sound on your exhale, maybe a little humming sound or horse lips. If thoughts arise, simply noticing them without attaching to or believing them, just allowing them to be. They feel very persistent. You may just want to rock your head side to side. Again, as if you could pour your thoughts out of your ear. Noticing the sounds in the room. Thinking of your thoughts like the sounds that you can hear. Sounds arise and they fall away. And you don't even need to know where the sounds are coming from or what they are. You can just like, oh, there's a sound and there's one. It just disappears. What if you let your thoughts do the same thing? A little puff of smoke just appear and then disappear. Taking a couple more deep breaths here. And if you've got the strap, you can release it. Gently let your knees come into your chest. And once again, just pulling gently in to give your low back a little stretch. And then take your legs out long. Take the support that was under your low back and put it under your knees if you like, or let it go entirely. And, oops, I've gotten a little too far away from the wall. So it's as if I'm standing on the wall. So this to me, when I feel rattled, is incredibly relaxing to me. To feel my feet. It's like I'm standing in this effortless standing. So experiment for yourself and see if it feels good or see if you prefer it to be in a Shavasana that is just with your feet hanging free. Similarly, for me, I like to have support under my neck and under my knees. It creates some release in my low back and it feels supportive. This is also a lovely place for a blanket over your whole body. I'll go without just so that you can see the position I'm in, but when I'm practicing on my own, this is a place I love a blanket. And from the bottoms of your feet, very gently, like it was a warm ray of sunshine, let your attention slowly move its way up your body, starting at the soles of your feet and seeing if there's any way of relaxing the soles of your feet, your toes, the tops of your feet and your ankles. See if there's any small pockets or big pockets of tension that you can release. Take that warm ray of sunshine into your lower legs, your shins, your calves. See what you can let go in your lower legs. And then into your knees. Your knees on all sides, your front, back. sides of your knees, your thigh bones, your hamstrings and the sides of your thighs, into your hips, your buttocks, your hip flexors at the front, the gluteal muscles at the back, your abdomen, your belly, your low back, taking a deep breath into your belly, letting it expand and then soften down. Letting the warm sunshine of your attention move into your ribs, your heart and lungs, your middle and upper back, your chest and collarbones. This warm ray of sunshine sliding down your upper arms into your elbows, your lower arms. What can you let go through your arms, your wrists, your hands and fingers? Feeling your neck, maybe swallowing, licking your lips, feeling your throat, your jaw and chin. The weight of your skull heavy. Your ears relaxed. Your lips. Space around your nose and your cheekbones. Your eyes, eyelids. Forehead. Crown of your head. Your temples. Taking a breath into your whole body. And as you're ready, let your whole body stretch again. If your feet are against the floor, maybe point your toes, stretch your ankles and your wrists, stretch. And then draw your knees up to your chest and roll to one side. Pausing here. Then gently use the top hand to push down into the floor. Come into any comfortable seated position. Giving your hips a little support perhaps. If you have some tea or water. So just letting yourself sit in any way that feels comfortable. It doesn't have to look any particular way here. So it's an interesting question as to How often am I believing my thoughts? How much of the time am I presuming that my thoughts are true? And perhaps setting an intention for the rest of this day to notice the thoughts and create a little space between you and what you're thinking. And then just taking a breath in, smelling, and letting it go. Taking a sip. Watering the seeds of our practice. Allowing the sense of self-care, of intentional support to carry through whatever you're doing next in your day. Friends, I am so glad that you joined me today here at Dancing Water. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please click and for notifications, share any videos, any practices that are helpful to you. You can also find many resources at my blog, which is at focusnow.com. Sign up there and you'll get all of the information about scheduled classes, upcoming offerings, and lots of resources. Thank you so much for being here, for giving yourself this gift. It makes a difference, friends. Have a good day. Mwah. Until next time. See you soon.